Hello, I am Priyadarshini Karve. I am the director of Samuchit Envirotech, a social enterprise based in Pune and working with the motto Enabling Sustainability. I am also currently the national convener of Indian Network on Ethics and Climate Change or INEC. Our motto is People's Voices in Policy Choices. This is the ninth episode of the series. Let's try some thought experiments. Links to all the previous episodes are in the description, and the link to one more final episode will be added when it is made and uploaded. I want to thank everyone who responded to the videos by email and other means. In this episode, I am pondering on some of the suggestions from the viewers. I had planned this to be the final episode, but there is one more important thought that I do need to share, and therefore there will be one more concluding episode after this one. Regarding healthcare, several people suggested to focus on traditional medicine. I did advocate mainstreaming traditional medicine practitioners at the local level. But my notion was to help them standardize some of their proven formulations, add some common modern medicines to their range of offerings, and to ensure that some healthcare is available where modern medicinal infrastructure is not easily reaching. The modern practice of medicine is based on rigorous testing for effectiveness and side effects before introducing medicines in the market. Sometimes blunders have been made, but this approach has generally worked. Modern medicine has conquered many diseases, and the average lifespan of humans has increased from around 30 years to around 80 years in a span of just about 300 years. The medicines that still continue to be traditional medicines have either failed the rigorous testing or have never been subjected to scientific tests. That makes me feel much less confident about these remedies, especially when it comes to life-altering diseases. For relatively minor ailments like cough and cold, a little stomach upset, etc., where the issue is more of discomfort rather than a threat to life, having access to simple, low-cost and nature-based relief medicines and relying more on one's own immune system is a good approach. But for more serious ailments, we must rely more on science and less on so-called tradition. One interesting suggestion was to develop urban or homestead food production as a separate discipline of agricultural sciences, as these systems follow different principles than traditional agriculture, and there are interlinkages with water, sanitation, and waste management systems. To my mind, the concept of permaculture comes close to what is required here. Permaculture looks at the available land, natural resources, local ecosystem, and local community needs holistically to come up with a set of win-win solutions involving positive feedback loops. As far as I know, there is no formal degree program in permaculture in India, although there are certificate courses and trainings on offer. Urban or homestead food production can play a vital role in ensuring food security at all times for everyone in a climate challenged world. This totally justifies mainstreaming this topic into the formal education system. Another important aspect of food security, which is also linked with healthcare on one side and water and sanitation on the other side, is linked with reviving traditional food practices in each agroclimatic zone. From this perspective, some people have been studying and documenting tribal foods and recipes. This is commendable work that must be pursued further, and special efforts must be taken to make traditional food items popular again. The success story of millets in recent years is very encouraging in this context. However, a word of caution here. We know that climate change is changing the weather patterns. So the weather in any region is in a bit of a flux. One should always remember that food choices have been driven by whether the cultivation, processing, and consumption of a food item is aligned with the local weather conditions or not. If the weather is changing, traditions also need to change. One suggestion was that rainwater harvesting should be made compulsory. Such rules have come in certain pockets, although it is not a blanket condition for everyone across India yet. There are a few other things to consider here. We do need the ecosystems based on natural water bodies to survive. So water must flow into lakes and streams and rivers and ultimately into the oceans. I have heard some proponents of water conservation talk about not allowing a single raindrop falling on a piece of land to flow out. That is not an eco-friendly approach. Hydrogeology experts also point out that rainwater harvesting to recharge groundwater works the best only when done in the recharge zone of an aquifer. Of course, in a desert, wanting to harvest every drop of rainwater to store in tanks, etc., is essential for survival. But in other areas, it would be better to employ the option of rainwater harvesting smartly rather than indiscriminately. There is a growing community of minimalists across the world and in India too. There are also social enterprises doing great work through recycling and upcycling of waste materials. All of these efforts are absolutely essential to reduce the volume of waste that needs to be disposed of. There is one more interesting way to achieve this: turning products into services. Sharing of various goods in a community was one of the suggestions made, and I think this is a great strategy that people must try out at the level of their own communities. For waste management or wastewater treatment, the cost should be borne by the manufacturers of the products that are generating the waste or the pollution. This was one suggestion that makes a lot of sense in principle but is challenging to implement in practice. Whatever additional expenses are put on a product through such policies will come out of the pocket of the end buyer. If the big manufacturers form a cartel and control the pricing, there is no incentive for cleaning up their act. In any case, any policy change making the polluters to pay for the cleanup is not going to happen on its own. We as citizens will have to fight for it and suggest solutions for loopholes too. We will keep the discourse going even if the series is ending with the next episode. Do keep sending in your suggestions and comments. Thank you.